hello. You might have been seeing me in the same clothes. It's because I shoot all these videos on the same day because I'm busy on the weekdays. So on the weekend, I try to shoot as many as I can. But from next week going, probably I would have to be changing clothes. But yeah, that is the best way I can do so that I would be able to keep in touch with you guys whilst working because weekdays I'm super busy. I can't be juggling between the two. So weekends I take one day and then try to shoot as many videos as I can so that even though I might be busy with work, I will do the editing in the evening and then upload them. So we will be together even though I'm away. So today I'm gonna talk about relocating from one place to California. Right now I'm in Silicon Valley, so this is like points to consider because I've been here for 2 months, so the things that I've experienced, and I think it will be helpful to people who are considering moving to this area. I wouldn't say California because I've not been to everywhere in California, but for Silicon Valley, these are the few tips that I will share with you, and I think it will go a long way for anyone who is thinking of moving. So I'm gonna talk about things like deciding on specific cities, counties, neighborhoods you want to stay, crime rate, very important, security, recreational centers, schools, walkability, because if you're someone like me who loves to walk, my neighborhood is very important because that is how I am. I love to walk. So if the place is not safe for walking, then I'm very cautious or I might not decide to be there. So these are some of the things I'm going to talk about. So point one, I will say that decide on which county, city, or neighborhood that you hope to be. Now, depending on the job that you do, everyone knows that the Silicon Valley is like a booming place for technology. So a lot of engineers, software designers, tech people are everywhere. So if that is something you are into, then this will be a great place for you to move to. Another thing that you might also want to consider is your native food if it's available here. Since I've been here, I've been enjoying some really rich culture when it comes to food. There is so many diversity in people here. So many Japanese, Indian, like Asians are the majority of the people I've come across here. So are Mexicans. So if you visit any of these people's restaurants, you are sure that you're eating the authentic food from these places, and that is one thing that I'm really, really enjoying. And yeah, if you're considering to be here, someone told me that San Francisco is the best place for authentic food, but coming from Kansas, I would say Silicon Valley has been the best so far. I'm yet to go to San Francisco, so probably after tasting food from there, I can make a decent judgment. But for now, I'm really enjoying the food here. So if you like to eat out, that is perfect. Different flavors, different spices, recipes, and I really, really love it. And also, one thing you must also consider when it comes to neighborhood and cities and counties, you have to, if you're not buying a car yet, then you have to consider the public transportation. Right now, I think this place is very easy to move around because there are buses everywhere, and so are like trains. So it's very easy even if you don't have a car. So it depends. If you need a car, then definitely you have to get one. But if you don't, then I would say that just go with the public transportation. It has a very easy access and it's very timely. It comes really quickly. So yeah, that is one thing you might also have to consider. And I think these are the points to consider depending on the county city that you're moving in, if all these things are available for you to enjoy. Now, the next point will be the housing process. So you need to consider if you plan to buy a house or you plan to be in an apartment. And depending on that, I know I've done a little bit of research on housing because I thought if I'm going to live here for a long time, I might consider buying. So I've looked into it. And I'm not gonna lie, it's very, very expensive here. And I mean, it makes sense. California is expensive because of the weather and beautiful culture, everything that I've talked about in the first point. So it makes sense. And even if you're considering getting an apartment, it's still expensive because yeah, it's California. What else do you want to say? So you have to consider that option if you're planning on buying a house or renting an apartment. And if you are on a budget, then you might have to make some sacrifices in order to decide which is better for you. If you're considering a house, like where it is located, then kind of neighborhood that the house is located are all some points to consider. And then if you're getting an apartment and you're on a budget, then you have to decide, are you going for a studio, a one-bedroom apartment, which kind of area, because I've also seen that depending on the area, the price of the apartment might be lower. But one thing I've always said is my security is the most important thing to me. So no matter how much I have to pay for that, I mean, to me, I might go over the budget, but if there are some equally good places, just that I cannot speak for security, but there are equally good places that you can find that might be in your range. So, yeah, these are some of the things that you might also notice. And one thing I've also realized, if you're hoping to rent an apartment, back in Kansas we have basements, but one thing I've seen here, there are no houses with basements. So I don't know if it is a policy, government policy or something, but I've seen that. So if you're thinking of, and mostly basements are cheaper when it comes to rent. So if you're thinking that finding a basement, I've not seen anything like that. So I just have to put them out there if anyone is considering that, so that you know your options. There aren't no basements here with cheaper prices when it comes to renting. So you have to be ready to sacrifice. Well, the next point is that depending on what your interest is. So I've seen that most, like the Silicon Valley itself doesn't have a lot of beaches to relax and have fun on the weekends, but Southern California is where most of the beaches are located. So if you want to be around beaches, then that will be the best place for you to choose. But if you don't, it's not like you don't want to, if it is not a big issue for you, then Northern California will be the best place for you. I mean, here there are some places you can go to have fun, like miniature beaches, but it's not as massive as the Southern Californian place will be. So like Silicon Valley, one thing I love about this place is the weather. There are mountains surrounding this place, so it's cool. It can get hot sometimes, but coming from Kansas, this is nowhere near the heat in Kansas. So I'm very glad and appreciative of that. So based on what interests you the most, if you love beaches, I mean, if there are no beaches here, there are so many other recreational activities that could compensate for that. There might be the same thing up in the southern area, but this place, a lot of hiking if you're an outdoorsy person. A lot of people take hikes, a lot of people do camping, because there are a lot of like forest areas and nice mountains for people to enjoy. So if you're someone like that, that would be great for you too. Now, one thing, I know I'm saying all the good stuff, but one thing that I was shocked on, and then that will be the fourth point is to note that if you're moving here, taxes are really, really high. I'm still shocked. Sales tax, whatever, work tax, what, federal taxes, whatever it is, it's very high. So no matter how much you are being paid, expect to pay higher state and then federal government taxes. So if you're considering, um, how do we say it, negotiating for payment in a new job, you have to consider that because taxes can take half of your pay. And then if you do not consider that, you might be in hot waters. So it's a good point to know. I mean, I did my research, but some people might take it for granted until they come here and then they'll be shocked by it. And I don't want you, my people, to feel that way. So you have to be very careful and then note like research into taxes depending on how much your work is offering you, and that might help you save some money or help you budget so that you don't go overboard. And the last point, or last but one point that I wish to talk about are hazards associated with living in these places. I mean, since I've been here, I've not experienced anything like that, but I've heard of people talking about earthquake, fires, floods, etc. So it sounds scary, and most people asked me if I'm sure I want to move here because of these things. But I mean, you can't decide for your fate. So I'm just hoping that I'll be safe here. But until then, these are things that you need to consider. If you cannot tolerate this fear, then it's better not to move here. But if you can cope with it and then leave and forget about it when it happens, then definitely go for it. And then depending on where you are located, you might not even experience this. So I don't know, maybe there are places that are higher in get those natural disasters in a higher rate than others. I don't know about that, but it's something to expect, and knowing it is helpful for you. And lastly, talking about hazards, there is also the monetary aspect. As I told you, taxes are higher, so everything that is here, everything is expensive here. So you might have to cut down on some of the things that you used to enjoy if you want to save money here, because it's quite expensive. So yeah, you have to choose your poison and choose which one is best suited for you. And lastly, everyone loves California for what it is, for the weather, for the joy it brings. So your friends would love to come and visit you. And honestly, I would love to share my space with my friends if they want to come. So that is the sixth point. Prepare your mind, because people will be taking vacations in your house or your apartment, because it's a nice place. People want to have the experience. So if you're the first person amongst your friends who moved here, then definitely people are going to want to come and then see what is all the craze about California. So yeah. And hi, all my friends, if you're willing to come, just give me a call or give me a message and I'll hug you and receive you with open arms. So let's just book that flight and come visit Naomi in California. Well, this is my favorite point, so and mind you, if you guys are coming, then you have to prepare, because I'm busy with work, so weekends will be the best time to come visit me. I've given you all the gist, so if you're planning to come along, let's have fun. Well, these are the points that I wanted to share with you since I've been here for 2 months and gone through the looking for apartment process and finally settling in. These are some of the things that I've seen, and I thought it would be helpful to any person who is considering to move to California, in especially at the Silicon Valley area. Thank you guys for watching. Please follow me on Instagram at the Elegant Armor, and then I have below link my website so you can check some of the things that I talk about in my website down there. And without wasting your time, I hope you have a great day. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me on Instagram or even here. In your comments, if you've ever lived in California, let me know what you think about the place, especially Silicon Valley, and if there are any other points I didn't talk about, but you have experienced it, or not even California, moving to a bigger city, if you have anything that you've experienced it or someone has told you about, and if you think you share it with us and it will benefit us, please do not hesitate. In the comment section, let us know what you think about moving from a smaller community into a bigger city. Thank you guys for watching and have a great day. Bye.